Before there were laws, before there were kingdoms, there was magic. It lived in fire and water, in herbs and whispers, in the hands of those who dared to shape the unseen. Witchcraft was not born of politics, yet it has always been bound up in power, named, feared, condemned, reclaimed or today or now, because I don't know when you're going to hear this. We're going to ask, what is political about witchcraft? Is it the craft itself, or the way the world has always tried to control it? So join us as we trace the shadows between magic, power, and the paths we walk today.
Dun, dun, dun. Welcome, listeners. So today we're going to be talking about witches in politics. Are witches political by nature, or are we just tired of people telling us how to be witches? Right?
Yes. So welcome. I know it's been a while. This is episode 2. And yeah, this is witches and politics. Is witchcraft political? I think that
maybe we should get just down to what is witchcraft, right?
Yes,
First.
yes, exactly. So, and I mean, again, like the intro, magic has always existed,
right?
In rituals, healings, divination, and I feel like long before the word witch was ever a thing, witchcraft was being practiced. So, I mean, if you go all the way back to the beginning, before we recognized what it was there. Why? Because magic has always been there.
Right.
Is there a difference between magic and witchcraft?
I think so.
I do too. So if we recognize magic as a universal force, as an attempt to shape reality,
Yeah.
For myself, it's all about, like growth every day. Witchcraft could be the expression of it. So a cultural lived expression. So sometimes seen as a derivative and sometimes as its own path. I can definitely get behind that because, again, like our hand is not us, but it is a part of us.
Right. Now, see, for me, I believe that we are in a magical system. So I believe that everybody, you hear these things like, oh, this person's less spiritual or I believe that's completely false. Granted, this is my belief system, but I believe that we are in a magical system. Now, I just wrote a book about this, okay?
Yeah.
And it's, the Book of Secrets, and it's based around my deck, the Matrix deck. But let me just read to you the very first thing, if that's all right with you, Sissy.
It absolutely is. It's pertinent.
And it's called the Matrix. This is if you get the Matrix card, but it's essentially what this whole system is based around. This whole deck is based around. So the matrix referred to within these pages is the magical system that we live within. It is the reality that we experience. I cannot tell you whether this is a computer simulation like that of the movie The Matrix, but it is a simulation nonetheless. I believe that we, as a mass consciousness, have created this matrix for us to incarnate into. It is made up of a magical system which gives us each the ability to write our own stories while we are here. The key to unlocking this ability is knowing the magical formula for doing so. This formula is not unlike any other magical spell. We must have a clear intention, passion, and emotion to fuel it, and a clear action to send it out into the world. Our belief must be powerful within ourselves, and we must make the right choices along the way to facilitate what we have set in motion. Now, because we live within a dualistic reality, there are always two or more sides to every story. As a mass consciousness, we created the narrative that our matrix runs on. So, this is why it's so important to share love, kindness, and positivity in the world. As this frequency is passed on from soul to soul, it can rewrite the current narrative of this simulation. So, those who are in power direct our focus to areas that keep them in control of the current world narrative. And this is done with fear mongering, politics, social media, and division.
Yeah.
Enough said, right?
Holla frickin' Luya. And, before we go too much further, I would like to present a disclaimer that says we have no desire to browbeat or make anybody feel bad for what they believe, because that is the point.
Right.
That's the point. The point is what empowers you is important, and it's all that matters. And my view of politics is probably a lot different than most, but it's not because I don't care about politics. Politics appeals to my spiritual side. It's meant to. And therein, because people don't feel the same, lies the division, because again, politics appeals to how we feel. If you're seeking validation, you want people that
Yes.
feel the same way as you do. And then if they don't, then it will cause division, unless you are so empowered. This is again my own opinion, in your own spiritual beliefs, then you allow other people to have their own spiritual beliefs or whatever it is, because you're not threatened by them.
Mic
And
drop right there.
yeah,
Mic drop.
yeah, I think so. And when we were talking about the origins of witchcraft, the reason I wanted to even talk about that is because, again, the topic is witchcraft inherently political? On a historical note, as an accusation in medieval Europe, yeah. Is it tied to heresy, control, fear? All of those things makes it political. I watched a video not too long ago where a wonderful woman who I totally adore said, just by speaking into the public that you're a witch could be considered political. And I agree with that. what
I
I
do
don't
too.
what I don't agree with is that I don't see my practice as political intentionally.
Right.
So, but how you feel about it is understandable and
It's a
absolutely
political
valid.
statement because of the world environment that we live in. It doesn't mean that the craft itself or being a witch is a political statement. Do you see
Right.
what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes. I think that as we go into this, we're going to define what it means to be political. And when witchcraft was being practiced, even though it didn't have a label, when did it become political? Who made it political? And why
Right.
is it political? Those are the questions I want answers to. You know what I mean? That I'm
Yes.
seeking. If you're going to make a statement that it is inherently political, then explain to me why that is. And I don't want to be left with questions. I want to understand. You know what I mean? But for myself, I'm pretty sure that because of my lived experiences, I don't see it that way. So you would really have to, I don't know, I guess stand at the same area that is observing from a bird's eye view, a left and a right, and then inherently convince me. So standing, I guess what I'm saying is if you're only standing on one side, it's going to be hard to convince me. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Because we live in a dualistic reality, like I just said. So if that's the case, then it means your perspective is your perspective, of course, but that's not everybody's perspective. How could
Right.
it be?
Right.
There's
And if
more than
you're,
even two sides to every story. There are several sides to every story.
yes. And if you're not allowing for those other perspectives, then who are you just like?
Uh-huh.
I can't
Yeah.
help I can't help it. It makes me feel like that's what the patriarch wants,
Right.
And without getting into that whole myriad of
But what
what
is the
that
difference
is.
between magic and witchcraft, though? Witchcraft is the applied craft of how you see magic or based off of your own spirituality. So, our culture, that's going to be different. So, not all witches are the same, not all practitioners, not even everybody doesn't even have to claim witch in their title for being a magical practitioner. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely. So if we do come back to that whole question of is witchcraft inherently political, then the other half of that question could be, is it simply politicized when power structures fear it?
Yep, right there it is. That's it right there.
So if we, move on from that, because I think that's a question that we have to ask ourselves, right? I mean, just by,
Yes.
again, looking at what we see on TV, on social media in general. I don't know how many people watch
Mhm.
TV anymore, but so we got witchcraft and power throughout history. So we got the witch hunts. There was political control via accusations, which again, someone was threatened, didn't understand it, or was it a
Mhm.
way to just get rid of the people that, again, threatened something that was trying to be, what do we, if you're not in on the agenda, you're a threat to it and you're going to be
Right.
penalized.
Or I want your land because I want to build something there.
Yep.
So I'm going to accuse you of this, that it was made political when it had nothing to do with the craft in many situations.
Yes, I see that today with all sorts of bad terms. Well, I don't like you, so you are, the big one is you're either a racist. I mean,
Hmm.
there's all sorts of labels that we put on people that we don't like because we assume things and then labels again. So there it is. It's
Yep.
that whole labeling thing again. Whatever you call yourself, like myself, I'm a mystic who practices witchcraft. Does that make me a witch? Yeah, but I prefer mystic because that kind of covers it all. But am I a witch? Yeah, of course I am. But again, I prefer that I'm a mystic, but if you see me as a witch, that's cool. you know, I'll claim
I
that too.
have many labels. Okay. I have
Yeah,
many friggin' labels.
right. Are you
Like human
labeling me?
being.
Yeah. Well, think if you think someone's if someone is threatened by you and then they say, "Oh, she's a witch." Okay?
Hmm.
So that's the point that I'm making. It's like, they're thrown out for many different reasons, but what you label yourself at is the only thing that's fucking important. I mean, it's only
Yeah.
important. I'll bleep that out later. Um we had
Hmm.
the witch hunts and that was horrible, you know.
Then we had
Um
colonial suppression, like indigenous practices that were criminalized,
oh,
right? I
yeah.
mean, you look at all of these during like the Trail of Tears when they would take these Native Americans and put them into Christianized schools and, I mean, just torture these children that were raised in different environments and cultures and tell them that that was wrong, it's evil, it's they political I can't even say it now.
Yeah,
They
politicized.
made it into a political statement
Yeah,
and told the rest of the world more or less this is why we're doing it because they're heathens or whatever. It's horrible.
it
It's
is horrible.
horrible.
It is horrible. So then, we're coming back full circle and we're like, no, we're going to reclaim the word witch because you did ostracize it. And so then we have the feminism movement. We've got activism and we see it today big time. Like do away with the patriarchal system. I've fallen into the same darn thing, but if you look at what the patriarchal system is, it's that superiority saying this is how it's going to be and everyone else can fall into line. If you got the top of the triangle and you got your subjects, but if you turn that upside down, Then you've got the matriarchy, which allows for more than one point of view, creating something else. And sis, you came back with like the best, like, oh, yes, Carla, I see that. But
Right. So for me, I do think that it is a trap when we say matriarchal or patriarchal,
Mhm.
because I believe that the alchemical marriage is not when a man and a woman get together. It is when that feminine and what we would call masculine energy become one in every person. And universally, that would be the same: as above, so below, as within, so without, right?
Right.
So, what is that the alchemical marriage is the union of those things, and that is also what is matriarchal. Matriarchal is chaos, it's primordial current. So
Mhm.
it is the primordial womb, it's the fertile void, the dark mother's cauldron. So in mythologies you would see that as feminine principle. It's often associated with the mystery or the void, the waters, the cyclical, the non-linear, right?
Yes.
Um, so chaos energy is creative, it's intuitive, it's fluid. Now, and matriarchal systems often honor the web of life rather than rigid hierarchies, like patriarchal energy, which
Mm.
is all about order and
Mhm.
structure. So,
Yeah.
patriarchy has historically leaned towards, let's say, imposing order. So, hierarchies, rules, borders, and absolutes. The masculine principle in archetypes often represents like form and logos and logic and linearity and clarity. So,
Yeah.
order energy seeks predictability and control and dominance over chaos. But there has got to be a balance between those
Yes.
things.
Yes. 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 So think about this. It's like inevitably, if again, I think standing up for anybody's rights is important and I mean extremely important. And so I understand activism. I also understand the feminist movement. I understand it all and I get behind it all. But if you like for example, like the Amazons, so they had all these women rulers. Did that make them a matriarchal type of society?
No, that was still patriarchal.
Exactly.
When
So
witches are judged for not being political enough, that's order energy trying to control chaos, okay? Witchcraft thrives in chaos,
yes,
mystery, secrecy, subversion, transformation. It doesn't like being ordered into a one size fits all definition. So,
yeah,
witches also use order. They use ritual and structure and timing and correspondence to give shape to their craft. So we have to have a marriage of the two. So for someone to just say, okay, if you're not doing this, you're not a witch, or, you
mhm,
know, if
mhm,
you're not, if you don't agree with me, if you're not out actively, and I'm getting kind of ahead of myself, but
that's
showing
okay.
activism,
Yes,
which you are saying that you want order, that you want every witch to be like you. That is patriarchal energy. That is order. That's not chaos. That's not matriarchal. That's not womb energy. That's patriarchal energy.
yes, which poses the question. So, was witchcraft meant to be political, or did it become political when society tried to control it?
Right.
And we see that all the time. It's somebody's proclaiming that this is how it is. What are you doing? You're trying to control a narrative. You're pushing an agenda. And it doesn't matter if it's good or bad, you're still pushing an agenda. And how you are enforcing it could be by bashing,
Mhm.
making someone feel bad about their spiritual beliefs or whatever it is. That's where the division comes in. Um, like you said, so you're not a real witch unless you're publicly political. I don't agree with that. But the biggest thing that I don't like about it, because we're all entitled to our own opinions, is that for
Right.
myself, I have more to consider than just myself.
Right.
And because of the day that we are living in, it exactly what that wonderful lady said that I was telling you, that just uttering the name witch makes you political. It puts a target on your back, and not just your back. Okay.
Yeah.
So my choice, and that's why you're really going to have a hard time convincing me,
Yeah.
is not just my own when I have other people to consider. And today I am very much mindful and considering.
And hasn't our history kind of taught us that already? Have you not learned from history?
Yeah, that's what I would think too.
Do we want to repeat it? You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I know that that sounds a little bit like fear mongering, but I feel like the people that are also saying that you have to be an activist on your channel or you're not this or that, they're even making it worse. They are making it worse, in my opinion.
So what are the dangers of being outspoken now?
Let's not even talk about cancel culture. Cancel culture, yeah. Why would that be important? Cancel culture is important because what if it affects somebody's livelihood?
Mm-hmm.
What if, let's say me, okay?
Mm-hmm.
What if it doesn't just affect my livelihood, but then it in turn affects my husband's livelihood and our adult children's livelihood because there is what? Guilty by association? And let's face it, human beings are so good at that, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
So they're
Mm-hmm.
not just canceling me, they're canceling everybody. What if like we're hearing like unaliving threats of children
Right.
that are by these other ladies? We have to really read the room or read the country. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. So when we speak of someone else's rights, and you come up with, or you hear, you're scrolling and you see somebody telling you that if you're on social media, then you should be doing this, then
Uh-huh.
whose rights are you imposing on? Because it's not just mine.
Yeah.
It's also the people that I care for. So, I feel like you can say what you want. And if that is good for you, then I will stand behind you. I will support you.
Exactly.
But I am going to have my own reasons for doing what I do. And I don't like having my rights imposed upon either.
Yep.
And because I am thinking of everyone, I am being very strategic.
But let's just not also silence in public does not mean silence in private.
Yeah.
You're assuming, okay? And it's really stupid assumptions. That's what it is.
Yep.
Because what somebody posts on their public profile or their channels or whatever is probably a very small percentage of what they really have going on in their life, right?
Mhm.
And isn't chaos magic? Isn't it hidden? Isn't it mystery? Isn't it secretive?
Yep.
You know,
Yes. And why minimize? That's the whole thing. Why would we minimize what someone else thinks or feels? It's
what is
to
that about?
it's
Yeah.
to control the narrative. And there's many,
Um,
yeah, I mean, that
very patriarchal energy.
mhm. Mhm. Yeah. What was that quote that you said, that
What quote?
what you post is like 5% of who you are.
Oh, yeah. What I post is like 5% of who I am, maybe a little bit more than that. Okay. But it doesn't matter. What you see is what I allow you to see. That doesn't
Yes.
mean you see the whole me, and it's none of your damn business. So you can
Exactly.
assume all you want,
Right.
but it just makes you look like an ass. I'm sorry, there's no other way of saying it.
Yeah, yeah, and not to like, we're not minimizing how people feel about whether their witchcraft is political or not, because
Right.
if you feel that to me doesn't make you an asshat or nothing like that. To me,
No.
it's when you are calling someone else out for not uh,
Exactly. When you
using
dictate what
their
other people should
platform
be doing.
exactly dictating, because then you fall under that. Where's the balance? Where's the balance? Where's the allowing people to do what they think is right? And I have seen it on both sides, those that are too complacent and calling names to people that are activist. And I
Mhm.
don't get behind that, not one iota.
No.
So, I mean,
Balance.
it's the balance. It's the balance. It's live and let live. And I don't care if you think that I should be using my platform as a way to influence others. Mm,
We
my
will do what we want with our platform.
my
Period.
choice again is to not put a target on anyone else. And again, I am looking at it from a perspective that allows a left and a right. And you can get mad at me for that. At this point, I don't give a shit.
Right.
Why? Because it allows me to see a broader view of things, because I
Yes.
am passionate, which means I want to know it all. But that's me. That is where my discernment comes in, because if I, for myself, stand on one side, I have a narrow vision of what's coming. And I do not like that. That makes me feel uncomfortable. So the people that want to call someone like myself neutral, kiss my butt. Okay. Anyway. So yeah, so we talked about all the what we're doing behind the scenes isn't really anybody's business, and the things that includes could be the rituals that we're doing. And I will tell you, I've done some, and they worked out wonderful. Ancestor work, community building, so activism that isn't broadcasted. Okay, you know, um, because I am secretive about my things, but I think I'm good with that.
I mean, here's the thing though, with public, when you put things in public, are you doing it truly in order to help other people, or is it because you want to be validated, right? Is that more about your ego? And I'm not saying either is bad, but it's about asking those questions of yourself, what you're truly seeking, okay?
Yeah.
And why then do you require other people to do the same? Why do you feel like you should dictate what somebody else does in their business, or well, it is their business, but in their craft?
Yeah. And what happens with social media? And I feel like if anybody tries to deny this, then you are living under a rock.
Hmm.
Is misinformation. And how can that happen? Well, because people take things out of context and they only remember something that you said that pissed them off. They didn't remember all of it. They took it
Yeah.
out of context, and so they didn't hear all of it. And it happens to every single one of us that puts anything on social media. It can be taken out of context. That is where the misinformation lies. If you think that everyone is going to hear everything that you say and understand it completely, you are living under a rock,
Yes.
because people can do that. Oh, and there's also these other things called oh, I don't know, CGI. And
Deep fakes and shit
I
like
mean,
that.
come on.
Yeah.
If you believe everything that you see and hear or read, then where's the discernment? I want to know, where's the discernment in that when you know that someone could have messed with it and you don't know? You don't know.
I do consider, and I've talked about this a little bit also. I feel like a lot of this is performative judgment and gatekeeping. And
Yeah.
what does that mean? It's like they do it for their views, right? So
Mhm,
why do people judge others based on public platforms?
mhm,
Is it projection of their own fears and insecurity? Is it because their ego needs validation? I'm more of a witch than you are. Is it
mhm,
because of outrage culture rewarding call outs, right? So
mhm,
the more people that I call out, it creates this huge attention and it gets more people to
mhm,
my channel. Yeah. You know what? If you want to grow your channel, or become an activist and get more people, divided, if you want to call other people out and hurt other people because it helps your channel, hey, you know what? Whatever.
yeah.
Am I going to be on board with that? Nope. Am I going to watch you? No. But
Mhm.
it does work. I'll give you that. It
Yes.
does
So
work.
that would leave me with the question then, that big question: is this helping the community? Am I doing this to really help the community, or am I dividing it? Inevitably, that's the big question. What is the end result? So I would answer that for myself with this message is do you, because you are the one that is important in this. And if you are saving people, like for myself, I know who I am thinking about, and they are just as important as anyone else, because we all are. What I do
Absolutely.
behind the scenes, and believe me, I mean, if anyone knows me, I'm all about children. The things that I do behind the scenes are for me and my own, and I will continue to do those things. I don't need to broadcast it because I don't need validation that I'm doing
Exactly.
these things.
Yep.
Very confident that I am helping, and that is what's important. I am doing my part, and it's none of your freaking business.
Exactly. So what is the shadow side of this? Like how judgmental behavior reflects personal shadow work. It
Right?
just means that they're not doing their shadow work.
Yes, I agree. That is avoidance of that. I mean, in my opinion, it definitely looks that way because I've been there. If I
And
don't want to,
witchcraft is not about control. It's
no.
about freedom. And the
Mhm.
person that's doing it, it is the craft of your own personal expression based on your own magic, your own spirituality. So
Yep.
telling somebody else how they should do their witchcraft
Mhm.
or how they should spiritually believe or that any religion is political statement anymore. They all are political statements anymore.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So it's just a ridiculous argument, in my opinion. In
Yes.
my
Yes.
opinion.
Anytime you point the finger, what's that old saying? You have three fingers pointed back at you. Why? Because when you point the finger at someone else, it just allows you to not take any accountability.
I think policing others, especially when we're talking about witchcraft, is actually misunderstanding the essence of the craft to begin with.
Yeah, because you're trying to control.
Exactly. That's definitely not chaos. That's not matriarchal. That's patriarchal energy all the way. Check yourself.
Yeah. Yeah,
Sorry.
absolutely. I mean, kind of think about that. Magic and witchcraft, like we are trying to control something, but how can true magic control someone else without repercussions or some type of a backlash? You know what I mean? There's always going to be a backlash if you're trying to control something outside of yourself.
Right.
So, I mean, I feel like it's really important to share your stance on things like this because there are so many perspectives out there. And for myself, I will honor each and every one. What I don't care for is the pushing an agenda because um, there is no point of view that I can't get behind unless it is minimizing someone else's, is all.
Right. So, do you personally see your craft as political? Let's do a little bit of personal reflection here. Do
That's,
you?
I know I don't, but it's a choice for me because if I, like right now, I am being very political. I am. But
Yeah.
as soon as this recording is done and as soon as this is over, it's I shared my thoughts and my ideas, but my personal magic is something I'm doing. My witchcraft is something I'm doing behind the scenes. I'm not sharing that with people. And if you think about what it means to be political, if you look at the narrow-minded uh, version of what it means to be political, well, then, yeah, we are associating it with government. And for someone like myself, I do not get behind, uh, I would consider myself apolitical. Not that I don't get involved because I do, but I won't like get in a debate with someone about politics because for
Why is that?
myself,
Is it because you've learned your lessons? I mean, hello.
that and yeah, I refuse to stand on one side or the other. So most times, yeah, I'm very mindful about who I share my opinions with, because I'm able to see both sides of it. And because I understand how social media works and that there's a lot of misinformation, I will go above and beyond to research things. But I don't share that with the public. So
Right.
my spiritual practice, and again, it's that's what to me my witchcraft is. And so I choose not to make it political.
So why even make this today? Do you feel pressure to publicly be vocal about this today? Why is that?
I am advocating for another faction of people. So, yes, because I am an advocate, I'm
Mhm.
advocating for the people that choose to not
Stay
be.
silent,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Because I mean, what I'm hearing is that that's not okay. I'm telling you, it is okay,
Yep.
because I understand why I'm doing it, and it's no one else's business. And don't
Yep.
pay attention to anyone that tells you that it's not okay and that you should be using your platform this way, because I understand why I don't, and it's nobody's going to make me feel bad about that,
Yep. Exactly.
because believe me, anyway,
There's
I
probably going to be a lot of you out there that go, you know what? I feel exactly the same way, or I do feel like mine is political, and that's cool. If
absolutely,
you feel like you are a political witch, then you are. We're not saying anything other than that. But if
yep,
somebody says that their craft or their spirituality is not political, then it's not.
exactly. And that's because it's a choice. You know, I think that there are times that I am political, but is that tied to my spiritual self? Um, I mean, again, it could be, because again, I feel like I want to share this message, and this message could be perceived as political. But again, I choose not to put that target on my back and make it in like, if you look at what it means to be political,
Right.
that's the biggest question, I
Or an
think.
activist.
Exactly.
Right.
Again, if you are equating being political with government, laws, and elections, I'm going to say, heck no. Um,
Right.
but a broader definition would be like a structure of power, a hierarchy, and who has a voice and who doesn't. So I'm using my voice. Am I political right now? Yes. Um,
For
being,
your own personal
yes,
political, for your,
yes, yes,
not for your government, not for anything like that other than your
yes.
own personal politics.
Yes, which is empowering to me.
Right.
It's acting in relationship to power itself. And so if politics is about power, then is witchcraft political because it shifts your personal or spiritual power? I think that's another valid question. And if
But
somebody,
that's still personal politics. It's not politics on the whole.
exactly, or does that mistake empowerment for politics?
Conformity or
Yes. So
conformity,
are
right?
we, when you say that your witchcraft is political, do you really mean that because you are equating it with the government and the laws and the elections that are going on? My thing with that is that, when you put your game plan out there and someone else they know your game plan. It's like, how can you sneak up and do anything when they already know you're coming? You know?
Exactly. It's just like being on, making a statement to the or addressing the nation and saying, "Well, we're going to go and do this today."
Yeah.
So the people from another country are watching and knowing exactly what you're going to do before. I mean, is that really wise?
I
Is
don't know.
that what we do? You
No,
know?
my strategic self says, "Oh, I don't know if that's really smart, Carla." So,
No, your strategic side says no. That's being a dumbass.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, let's
I'm
be
like,
honest here.
let's not give it up. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'm not as forthcoming with what I'm doing behind the scenes. A phone call calling my lawmakers easy, but that's not part of my witchcraft.
Right. And it's not for public consumption. Who cares?
Yeah, what was that? Because I'm pretty new to the craft. You were talking about the pyramid, or
Oh,
the
like the witch's pyramid. Like,
yeah, the witch's pyramid. Yes.
the ability to be silent. So you're saying that you're not as good of a witch, or you're not a witch if you're not using your platform um, in an activism kind of way, but yet what are the foundations? Maybe you don't claim that. It's really absurd, honestly. And so, Sissy, how do you balance your own personal safety and autonomy with authenticity if you do feel these political things behind the scenes, but you don't put it on your public channel? How do you like bring balance to that? What do you do?
Well, again, I'm not going to give away my game plan, but there are a lot of things that I do in private, and um, to help my community and the people around me, I will do things,
Mhm.
and um, most importantly, I mean, the easiest thing is to pick up a phone. Or if I really want to get involved, I can create a petition. Um, but I think that my
Or put your
personal
money where your mouth is, right? Because what is the biggest thing that speaks volumes in the world that we live in? It's
action.
money,
Oh, and money. Yeah, money and action.
money, money, money.
Yeah, words, I'm sorry, they they falter, they can be spelled very much.
Especially on little channels like us. Come on.
Yes, yes. Again, that's where misinformation comes in. So I choose to do mine deliberately, off camera. And I don't mind talking about why I do these things this way, because to me that is political. It's speaking up for why I am standing where I stand, but it is because I believe in that balance of the dark and the light. I can see both, and I feel like there
Yes.
needs to be that marriage. I think that that was extremely brilliant for you to talk about that, the marriage of the two, because I think that's what it's all about. It's in everything, and without it, we're still standing on one side of the or the other, and we're not fully uh empowered or fully um knowledgeable of to even speak on these things, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I know I'm not, so why would I want to come out vocally and talk about stuff that I don't, that I know I don't know everything about, you know what I mean? I
Nor does anybody else from public or news. They think they do, but they
They
don't.
exactly, they think they do. And I also, my tinfoil hat
Mm-hmm.
told me
Yes.
that, a lot a lot of people in politics from day one
They're just pulling
know
strings.
they know about the occult, okay? So, I
Yeah.
mean, that's where a lot of things you don't think we didn't find that out when they changed the frequency that was the musical, help me out, from 432 to
From
44.
440 to four,
Yeah,
you're right.
yeah.
440
So
to 432.
what was behind that? What was okay, we know these
Mm-hmm.
things, that
Right.
if you want to fight fire with fire, you don't put your game plan out there in the public to see, because again, these are occultists that are pulling the strings behind the scenes. So, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't take a
There's
rocket science.
theories that it was actually witches behind who they wanted to get rid of in the witch trials, right? That it wasn't really witches that were taken out.
There you
I'm
go.
just saying, you just don't always know. And so when you get political with things publicly,
Hmm.
you don't know everything that you think you know that's happening. We are in private groups. We have seen things that are pushed from one country to another country that's not real because it's all propaganda. Okay.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
when you talk to somebody else that's from a different country and they're telling you what they're seeing on theirs because they're not allowed to see other news sources, if that
Yeah.
was not happening, then why are we not allowed to see other news sources from other countries? Think
Hmm.
about that just for a second.
Yeah.
Critical thinking. Okay.
That's a big one right there. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
So, my advice for listeners would be listen, witchcraft is personal. Your craft is personal. My craft is personal and it's based off of my own spiritual beliefs. You don't have to believe like I do, but when you diminish my spiritual beliefs because you don't believe like I do, that is spiritual gaslighting. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I I say do what you feel is right for your craft, but I'm going to do what's right for my craft. No one
Yes.
gets to define what it is for me. Only my,
Mm-hmm.
excuse me, only myself.
Yeah. Yeah. And what is your reason for diminishing anyone else? I mean, if you've got
Hmm.
such a desire because I'm so tired of hearing if you're not on this side, you're not on the right side. Says you.
Or you haven't read enough books, or you don't know the whole situation as if you do.
Exactly.
You're fooling yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're trusting what you see on social media,
And you
well,
haven't learned anything, have you?
personally, that's my opinion. I just I don't understand that. I don't for myself. I don't. I'm not going to say anything bad about you because I don't know why you do what you do, and it's none of my business. Um, I
Hey,
just know
these are
for
just my
myself.
opinions. These are my
Yeah,
opinions.
for myself, I don't trust what I see on the news. I
Nope.
trust what I have learned from the people around me. And it is one of the reasons why I have friends that live in many other countries. What's allowed, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh. Exactly.
That should tell you something right there. You know, if
Yep.
you're not allowed to communicate with, there's a reason for that.
I mean, we're seeing over in the UK people that are just doing texts and that go against what somebody else thinks, and they're getting um arrested in the middle of the night and being put in prison and in jail. So is it really wise to just be a public face for certain things? Do you want to be made an example of? Because you will, or you could. So when you're telling other people that they should or shouldn't, listen, if you do that yourself, more power to you. It is your choice, your personal choice,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
But when you try to influence other people or make them feel bad for choosing to be, oh, I don't know, maybe a little bit more aware of the situation at hand and
Yes.
think about all of the other parties that
Mhm.
are in their life and how this could also affect them. So I say, shame on you for trying to do that. That's what I say. And that's my opinion.
So, and you had asked, how do you balance safety with authenticity? For myself, it is just that I'm strategic with what I do share because that is me being authentically me.
Well, when you play a chess game, are you playing the actual move, or in your mind have you already thought about five or six move aheads? Okay,
The latter.
exactly.
Yes.
And I
And
love playing chess, so there you go.
so again, we are acknowledging that there are no right or wrong answers, only different paths, and all paths should be honored. I am so tired of people saying, "Oh, well, you just don't believe in human rights." Then you know what? Get off your high horse. Your superiority complex
Complex.
is coming through because I absolutely do care, and for you to say that I don't is more about you
It is.
than it is me, and you can, you know what to do with that.
Hmm. So, I believe that the truest work that we do
Hmm.
is behind the scenes, and it's not for anybody else, right?
Right.
And I would encourage anybody that's listening to protect your energy. You
Yeah.
know,
Yep.
decide for yourself how visible that you want to be, and not confuse for others, not to confuse visibility with validity. Okay. You can put however much you want or however little you want. That's your choice. Just
Yep.
like your witchcraft is your choice. It's your personal expression. No
Hmm.
right or wrong.
Yep.
But if you go after other people telling them that they should or shouldn't, shooting all over them,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yep. I don't think there's anything wrong with somebody getting on and influencing a group of people to do something that they think is important. I stand behind that. I love that. And I do that myself, because isn't that what we're doing right now?
Yes.
I get behind that. Um and
Listen, I am judgmental, okay? I'm not gonna lie, I'm judgmental, but I'm really judgmental, especially of people that are really judgmental.
and you can see it a mile away. Well, if you it's when you say things like, and if you're not on this side, or if you're not doing this, then you're this. It's like,
Right.
okay, well, that's when
My
I'm
way or
like,
the highway.
yeah, then I'm like, okay, well, everything you just said went,
Yep.
I'm like, okay, you lost my respect at that point,
Yeah.
because I respect people that allow other people to be authentic and to be in their own power and love what they're putting down. You know what I'm saying? It's when you try to diminish someone else for that I'm done listening, you know.
Yeah.
It's But yeah. So um I celebrate everyone's diversity of practice. I think that that is amazing, because I myself don't know everything. And when I'm watching someone's channel and they're sharing something that I didn't, I'm like, yes, thank you, because I didn't even think to look there. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
And I
I
love
find
that.
that the more I learn shit, the less I feel like I know.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. But when you're shoving something down my throat, that's a little bit different.
Yeah.
I don't really, I'll choke on it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess the final, like you had said, these are just questions to ask yourself. Do you see your witchcraft as political? And do you feel pressured to be public? These are your own personal questions, that,
Or share them with us.
yeah,
We would love that if you want to share your experience with us. Do you think that your personal witchcraft is political? Or is it not? Do you feel comfortable sharing it in public? And do you also think that other people should share theirs in public? And why?
yeah.
Why you feel like you should have a voice in how other people practice
Hmm.
and what they share?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because again, I know how I feel. Um, and which means, I'm convinced. That doesn't mean that there's something that you might say that might convince me of something else, because I'm open to it.
I'm open, but it's got to be very convincing, okay,
Hell
for me to
yeah.
change my views, because my
Exactly.
views are something that I have spent a lifetime
Yeah.
cultivating. Okay.
Yeah, think about that. Yeah, my goodness. I just turned 56.
Yeah.
I have experienced, and that's what my reality is based upon. For someone to
Exactly.
think that I don't know how I feel or whatever, gives me the ickies, I guess. I think
Yeah.
that's extremely judgmental, and yeah, but yeah, we don't need to go into that, but I think I think we pretty much covered.
Sorry about my dogs. I'm going to mute.
Oh, I think that we pretty much covered everything that was rolling around in my head, and I think we probably did with yours too, sis.
Yeah, let me just say, listen, just one thing really quickly. Listen, I do love everybody. I truly do. What is love for me? Love is not wanting to see anybody else hurt. I want people to be fulfilled in their lives and to
Yeah.
find what it is that drives them. Okay. That is what love is. That doesn't mean I necessarily like you on a certain day. Okay.
Hmm.
But I do love all of you, and I do get very passionate about my opinions,
Hmm.
especially when I feel like somebody is trying to oppress other people by
Yeah.
dictating, that word dictating as in dictatorship,
Yeah.
dictating how somebody should say or feel or do or any of those shoulds, you know.
You notice it starts with DIC also. I was just thinking.
Yes.
Anyway.
So I just hope that, the most important thing for me that I have found in my magic and in my witchcraft is personal gnosis. Above all else, it's personal gnosis because this world and this reality is based off of my beliefs. Okay.
Hmm.
You don't have to believe like I do. I don't have to believe like you do.
Yeah.
But I think if anything has taught us anything throughout history is to let people believe what they want and focus on yourself and in your life and what you want in your life. Instead of pointing fingers, just do a little bit of soul searching for yourself.
I did see a post, and I thought that this was the most brilliant thing that was said. And it was, I mean, I didn't agree with all the bullet points in the post, but the big thing was, is uh, it's going to come to our door. This personal fight against, what we believe in. Our spiritual beliefs are going to,
Um,
it will come to our door eventually. It may or may not be inevitable depending on what you believe. I think that, we might have to fight for our personal beliefs, and especially if we believe what we believe, you know, believe in witchcraft, then are probably, we're going to have to defend that. And I feel like, why make it happen any sooner by putting a target on your back? And then you've already caused some division, or maybe you didn't mean to, but you did. And so now, you don't know who stands with you and who does. Instead, if we empower each other to just be, we know that we do have this big group of women and men that believe in witchcraft and can stand together, because again, these people behind the scenes probably know as much about our craft, if not more, than what we do, because they're also sitting on secrets that we aren't privy to.
well, earlier when you and I were talking, Sissy, I said, let's think about Star Wars just for a second, right?
Ooh, yes. Yep.
So we have the Republic and we have the Rebellion.
Hmm.
Did the rebellion go around shooting off their mouths and telling everybody who they were? Or did they plan things and have more power because they were working from behind the scenes, just like the people who are truly in power right now? So if you fall into this division, you are literally making yourself a target. So this is just my opinion, of course,
Hmm.
but or having a little bit of foresight into the way that our um, environment is presenting itself. So if we are mindful and watchful and maybe go under the radar a little bit when the time comes, if that time ever comes, like is being suggested in that post, then
Uh-huh.
don't you have a little bit more information in order to know what to do next if you kept your head down?
Yes, absolutely. And yeah, oh my goodness. Yeah. In a freaking nutshell, right there. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I we've been here for almost an hour, so I think on that note, we could probably end it. Was there anything else you wanted to say?
No, just don't let people influence you when it comes to what you feel comfortable with in your own practice. You don't have to be, even though other people say it, and I'm sure many of you are going, we already know this. You don't got to say it. But
Right.
for those that maybe are feeling a certain kind of way, like, listen, I'm not doing my part if I'm not being as vocal, or I'm afraid to be vocal, or whatever, you do you. Don't let anybody take your power away. You know what's right for you in your life, and nobody else knows what's going on in your life than you.
Yeah.
Nobody does.
Yep. And ask yourself, what does it mean to be political? That would be my question. What does that mean to you to be political? And why? Because who made you political? You know, are you just is it something that you're just playing into because somebody said to, or do you really feel that way? Because there's no right or wrong answers. If you really feel that and you're really empowered, nobody can tell you otherwise.
Right.
But I would really ask that question. What do you mean? What does it mean to be political then? What does that mean? Because I think we all got a good idea of what witchcraft is. And
Yes.
why is it political? What does political mean? So may your craft be yours alone, untamed, unseen, and ungoverned by
Yep.
anyone else's judgment.
Right on.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us today. And you don't know what you'll hear in the next one. But
I
maybe.
do.
Really? Tell me.
We're going to be talking about deities.
Woo!
Deities.
That sounds magnificent.
And hopefully we'll do it before, it doesn't take this long to do our next episode. It's just,
yeah, I know,
life's
right?
been busy, guys. Life's been busy.
Yes, that's for sure. Well, all right. Well, I'm going to say goodbye. And we love you, and we'll definitely be talking to you soon.
Right on.
Thank you, Sissy.
Thank you. I love you.
I love you too.